Section 5 folder. Now we're going to double click the idle interactive shortcut to open idle with the modified shortcut. If you're using a Mac OS X operating system, double click the interactive app to open idle. In idle's Python shell window, just above the prompt, make sure it says no subprocesses, just like this. If it doesn't say that, close idle and repeat the process. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go File, New Window. Now we're going to save this. We go File, Save As. You're going to call this onclick.py. .py. Make sure you put the .py there. It doesn't automatically supply that. An event handler is a code in a program that waits for a specific event, such as a mouse click, and then it does something in response to the event, such as with my mouse I click on this X, it'll close out the program. That requires an event handler. A callback function is a code that is called or run when a specific event happens. So what we're going to do is we're going to write here a callback function first off. Of course, we have to put our from turtle import. And now we're going to define our callback function. We'll call it callback _1. And it has to have an X and a Y coordinate. A callback function is a code that's called or run when a specific event happens. Callback is another name for a callback function. A click event is created by a user clicking on a mouse button, and registering a callback function is the name for connecting a function to a specific user event, such as a click event. The Turtle model supports click events. This means that the Turtle module can detect a mouse click and then do something to respond to it. In a program using the Turtle module, there are two clickable types of objects, the turtle and the graphics window. You can have many click events and many click targets, and that depends on the number of turtles you have. The onClick function is a special type of function and is used in the Turtle program to register the callback functions to specific click events. Now this automatically assumes that you want to target the unnamed Turtle instance unless you specifically call it. So this callback function needs to have two arguments in its definition, and the arguments keep track of where the click happened. The arguments are X and Y. Okay. The X and Y arguments keep track of where the click happens along the X and Y axis in your Python graphics window. Okay, that's why you're using this. What we're going to do is we're going to have our color red here. When the user clicks on a turtle, we want it to turn red. Oh, I forgot my colon here, and this needs to be indented. Sorry about that. I'm going to put a couple enters in here. You're going to backspace to dedent the region. So the next thing we do is we write in onClick callback 1. So this is what we want to happen. See, there you go. You're just saying when you're clicking and you're clicking on that turtle, you want the turtle to turn red. So now let's see if that happens. I go File, Save, and I run it. If I click the turtle, does it turn red? It sure does. Okay, so you can close out the graphics window, but you don't want to close out your Python shell. So now we're going to add to the callback function. And right now the callback 1 function turns the turtle color red when the turtle's clicked. So you can add other functions inside the callback function 1 to make other things happen to when the turtle is clicked. So what we're going to do is we're going to add the shape function to change the shape of the turtle to a circle shape. Then we'll use the circle function to tell the turtle to draw a circle. Then we're going to add to the callback function. So what we're going to do next is we're going to combine these steps to add the callback 1 function definition. So I'm going to add to the callback 1, I'm going to make this a circle. So I'm going to type in here shape. And then I'm going to put in here circle. I want to make it a circle. And then I'm going to say make a circle of a radius of 100. Okay, let's save it and see what happens now. So I click it, and it makes a circle. So once again, I can close out this window, the graphics window, but I don't turn off the shell window. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add 2 more turtle instances. One's going to draw a triangle, and the other's going to draw a square. These are going to be 3 separate turtle buttons. A turtle object can be combined with a click event to act as a button. A button is a clickable graphic object that makes something happen when the user clicks it. And it's usually with the left mouse button. So in this program, we're going to use 3 turtles as 3 separate buttons. And each separate turtle is going to have a different click event. So before you write these click events, you're going to need to create these new turtle instances by assigning the turtle class to 3 new variables. So this way, you're going to be able to target each turtle separately with the onClick function. In order to keep it simple, we'll just call them the variables turtle1, turtle2, and turtle3. And later on, we're going to target these new turtle instances with the onClick function so that these unnamed turtle draws a different shape than each of the other buttons is clicked. So now we're going to create our 3 turtles. So I'm going to come up here after from turtle import, and I'm just going to put my turtle instances here. Turtle 1. So I create my first turtle instance. Turtle 2. Turtle 3. Okay, nothing's going to happen quite yet, but save and run the program so you can see the turtles. So you can't see all 3 turtles there, but honestly they're there. I can close this one out. Don't close out your Python shell. So now we have a slight problem because it's difficult to click a specific turtle instance when they're all at the same location. So the next thing we're going to do is define a function, and we're going to place the 3 new turtles in different starting locations. So in order to move them to their starting locations without drawing lines, of course we're going to have to use the pinup function. Each turtle is going to have its own different x coordinate. We're all going to give them the same y coordinate. This way they're all going to be in a horizontal line. You know, one on the left and one on the right. Right here is a turtle. This is turtle 1. It's going to have the coordinates of, well, minus 200, minus 200, right? So turtle 2 is going to have this coordinate, 0, minus 200. And turtle 3 will have this coordinate, plus 200, minus 200. So what are we talking about? This is our x-axis, right? This is the y-axis. So your x-coordinates are all changing, but they're all in the minus 200 line down here. So where does the unnamed turtle instance? It stays right here at 0, 0. So we're going to write the code that's going to move the new turtle buttons to their starting positions next. Now we're going to place our turtles. So underneath the circle 100, I click a couple times. If it doesn't come back here, I click a backspace. Define place for turtles. Make sure it comes back in a D-dent. And next I'm going to let my turtle 1 pen up. Then I have my turtle 1 go to -200, -200. I'm going to move my second turtle, get him put his pen up. I have him go to 0, -200. I'm going to have my turtle 3 pen up. Then I'm going to have him move to his location of 200, -200. So I sent them all to these locations that we discussed just a minute ago. So of course it isn't enough just to define the function. To use it, I need to call it. So I'm going to put on a separate line, make sure it's not indented, and I'm going to call the placeTurtle function. So let me save this and run this. So now you can see all my 3 turtles have gone to their respective places. If I click on the unnamed turtle, it still does its circle. So now I'm going to close my turtle graphics window. I'm going to keep this one open though. Now what we're going to do with a little drawing program we're making, we're going to make the 3 buttons different colors and shapes. What this is going to do is it's going to make it easier for the user to tell the difference between the buttons. The colors and the shapes of the buttons, that's going to suggest what the buttons are going to do. In this case, the shape of the button will match the shape that this unnamed turtle is going to draw. The color of the button will match the color of the shape. You're going to make a red circular button, a blue square button, and a green triangle shaped button. A little bit we'll write the code that's going to make the unnamed turtle in the center draw a different shape when each of the buttons is clicked, but for now let's just do this. We're going to come back here and edit this. So I'm going to put a space here, come up, and I'm going to make turtle 1 red. If it doesn't indent for you, just click the tab button. And I'm going to make the turtle 1 shape a circle. Now I'm going to add some features to the turtle 2 button. I'm going to make it blue. And I'm going to make it a square. Now I'm going to make the turtle 3 button green. And I'm going to make it a triangle. I'm going to save it and run it. So now you can see I've got my 3 buttons. Of course I can close out my Turtle Graphics window, but I don't close out my shell. And I don't close out my program, I just save it. Okay, now we're going to make the Turtle 1 button do something. Okay. The unnamed turtle will draw the shape because it is the one automatically targeted by the functions in the callback 1 function definition. So if I want the turtle 1, to draw the red circle, I'm going to modify this callback to be what happens when you click on turtle 1. So I'm going to put in here turtle 1. So we click on turtle 1, it's going to make the unnamed turtle do all the stuff. The unnamed turtle will draw the shape because this is the one that's automatically targeted by the functions in the callback 1 function definition. So we're going to save and run the program. So now if I click the red button, my unnamed turtle draws the red circle. So now I can close my graphics window. Once again, I don't close the shell. Just go back here. So now we're going to make the other 2 buttons do something. But instead of writing 2 new callback functions for the green and blue turtles, we're going to create function definitions for them by copying and editing the callback 1 function definition. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy and paste the callback one function definition, then rename the function, then change the code so it uses the correct color and shape for each button. So we're going to do these twice. So we're going to use these copies for the blue and green turtle buttons. So we're going to select the callback one function definition in its code. We'll click Edit Copy. Come here, give us a couple spaces. Come up one. And we're going to paste it once. Come down a couple and paste it a second time. Guess this one had better go back. Alright, so make sure there's a space before and after each definition. So now we're going to change these other definitions to match what we want the other buttons to do. So we're going to call one callback 2 and the other one callback 3. Okay, so callback 2 is a blue square, right? So we put blue in here. And we put square in for the shape. And for callback 3, we use green. And for color, for the shape, we use a triangle. So now we're going to come to the end of the program. And we're going to type turtle2 on click callback 2. So we've defined turtle2 callback. So now we're going to call it. We've defined it, we have to call it. It's the same thing with turtle3. We've defined it, now we're going to call it. One thing I've forgotten to do is I've forgotten to change this. So I want to make, this is alright for a circle. So to make this a square, what do I have to do? Right, I have to have a second thing here. Steps equals 4, right, for a square? Steps equal 3 for the triangle. So I'm going to save it and run it. Here's my circle. Here's my square. And there's my triangle. Okay, what we're going to do next is we're going to add an on-drag function. A click and drag event is when a user clicks on the mouse button and continues pressing the mouse button while moving the mouse. This on-drag function just registers a callback function that should be used when the click and drag event happens. Okay, this on-drag function can be used to make a turtle an object in order to click it and drag it. This on-drag function is usually used to register the goto function. You know, when the turtle is clicked and dragged, the goto function is called, and the turtle follows the movement of the mouse until the click and drag event stops. Because the goto function is a turtle function, you don't need to define it. With the turtle pinned down, you can use on-drag goto to move the turtle, and it will draw a line that follows the path of the mouse, creating a simple drawing program. Now, this being said, there's some on-drag function bugs. So when you use the on-drag function to click and drag the turtle, there can be some buggy behaviors. In most cases, when you click and drag the turtle is going to stop when you stop clicking and dragging. Sometimes, though, the turtle will return to where you clicked and dragged it from. If this happens, it's okay, right? Your drawing program doesn't need to be perfect. It's just an example of how to program objects for clicking and dragging. Another scenario that could happen is that your Python windows might crash when you run the program and click and drag the turtle. If this happens, just repeat the open idle with the shortcut and open the on-click py program pages and try again. If your program is crashing, it might take a few tries before it works correctly. So we're going to add the on-drag function right now. So we're going to move down to the end of this, right before the place turtles. And we're going to click on drag go to. And we'll save and run this. So I'll do the things I did before. And now I'll drag this. There you go. Okay, now we're going to clean up our window after we've messed it up. So the first thing we need to do is add a listen function. The listen function makes the Python Turtle graphics window the active window so that you can detect or listen for specific events, like mouse clicks or specific key presses. The listen function makes the Python Turtle graphics window active so that it will respond to keyboard key presses. The listen function is often used with the onKey function to add keyboard key interactivity. So the onKey function is the next thing we'll add, and that's going to link a keyboard press specific function. Okay, we're going to use the onKey function to clean the drawn lines and shapes and to reset the turtle position when the user presses the spacebar key. So we're going to create a start over function as a callback function for the onKey function. Okay, the start over function will use the reset screen function to clear the lines off of the screen. The reset screen function is a function that's built into the turtle model. So the start over function will also use the place turtles function to put the turtles back to their starting position. So we're going to erase the drawn lines and shapes and then return them this way. So we're going to go back after the last function definition. Then we're going to press the enter key. Then we're going to define start over. We'll have it reset the screen. And we'll have it place the turtles back in the initial position. Then I'm going to go backspace, so I remove the indented spaces. And now I'm going to put a listen function in here. So what does a listen function do? A listen function listens to the active window. The active window is the turtle graphics window. The listen function makes the Python Turtle graphics window active, so it will respond to the keyboard presses. The listen function key is often used with the onKey function to add keyboard interactivity. Okay, so now we're going to put in here an onKey function. So it's listening for a key to be pressed. So the onKey press tells it what it's listening for. So it's going to register a callback function when a specific key is pressed in a similar way to how the onClick function registers a callback function to respond when the user clicks on that turtle with the mouse. So in order for the onKey function to work, the listen function is called first, so that the program knows to pay attention to, and to look for a specific key press. And I'm going to put in my onKey function, and it requires two arguments. OnKey function. The first argument is to call back to another function. It uses a function name without parentheses. What do you want the key to do when it's pressed? Okay, the second argument is a string that represents the key that needs to be pressed to call the function. So in other words, if I want the program to draw a square when I hit the space key, what I would do is I would put onKey draw square, and when the space key is pressed, I'll put in a space here. So what that would do is would call the draw square function anytime you press a space bar. That would draw a square anytime I press the plus key. But what I want to do is I want to clean the screen. When a certain key is pressed, I want it to start over. So I'll put my start over function. We just defined the start over function. And what do I want to press here? Well, we're going to push the space bar. Now there's lots of different things you can push, and let me pull this up here. And here are several different things that you can use here. The space bar, the word to do space bar, you type in space. To delete something, you would just type delete. Backspace, there's this what you would put in. Backspace here. And here's just an example from the lesson. So let's try it out, shall we? And I'll just click my square. And I'll draw something. And now I'll just press my space bar, and that should delete everything. But it didn't reset. The reason it didn't place my turtles is because I didn't have the parentheses after the place turtle, so I better put that in there. So let me try that again. Okay, so I press my space bar, and that's what you wanted it to do. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to add a docstring. A docstring is just a special comment, and it's used to describe functions, modules, and other Python objects. Docstrings are also called document strings. So in order for Python to recognize a document string, you got to realize a couple things. First, the docstring needs to be surrounded by 3 quotation marks. Okay. And second, the docstring needs to start on the first line after the start of a function definition, or after the first line of the start of the program. So we're going to put ours at the top here, the first line after the start of the program. Okay. All document strings attributes have the name, 2 underscores, and the word doc, no matter which function they belong to. So we're going to write our docstring comment here. And so now we'll save it and run it. Now you're almost ready to turn in assignment 5. This first section here should tell you what you should check for to make sure your assignment works. Okay, we have an add-on to this section, which is to take the Hello World program that we created in section 4 and change the program to use the on-key functions. Now you should be able to follow these directions here to make this happen. So in assignment 5A, make sure that you've given yourselves these values they've told you to give. Make sure you comment out this last part. So you come down to the new line function, and what you're adding is you're adding these arguments to your go-to function. -200, comma, y coordinate, -100. So other things you're going to add at the end of the program here, you're going to add your listen function. And then you're going to have on key, draw H, you're going to have that respond to the H key being clicked or the E key being clicked. So each of these are going to respond to a different key that is being clicked. See how that works? So that's all you're going to be doing to this new assignment. You're going to open up your Hello Loop Hello Assignment PY file from section 4, and just make the changes. Follow the directions right here in assignment 5A. Really simple to do. You can do it. And you're going to save this assignment 5A PY plus the on-click PY file that we made, and turn them in for assignment 5A, and you are done. So let me show you how this works before we go. Assignment 5A. So you set your pen color. Now I press the H, E, L, L, O, the Enter, the W, the O, the R, the L, and the O again. So there you go.